I met Mary in Newfoundland and we got married, and that was like 49 years ago. Mary was making some ice cream to celebrate our 49th anniversary, and that got me thinking about making this video about how we met and our life together and all the things we've done. This is the very first picture that I ever made with Mary and I together. We'd met each other the night before, and I asked her if she'd show me around St. John's and out in the country a little bit. We came upon this fishing shed, and there was a knothole in the door, sort of a rudimentary peephole, and I put my Leica M4 with a 35mm 1.4 lens right up against the knothole and photographed this. Now this photograph was published in a book, Openings, by Breakwater Books in Newfoundland, and that was sort of the start. This is a newspaper article that was in the KW Record. Their photographer Peter Lee made this wonderful photograph of Mary and I, and it talks about how we met each other and how we got married some 49 years ago. The photograph is made in front of the location where I got my photograph that was made on billboards. It was on 3 billboards, on the 401 and the 403. I shot that one on 4x5. I used to do an awful lot of work on 4x5 with transparencies and with negatives as well. Now this is my picture of the Grand River. We made this picture in 1988. Mary was there with me, I remember quite well. We're shooting on 4x5. This photograph made 3 billboards on the 401 and the 403. It was a very popular photograph. It was also on the cover of the Kitchener-Waterloo Record Trail Guide. These are some of the calendar shots that we've made over the years. Now it's kind of interesting that when I first went to Newfoundland with my business partner, well, things kind of went really bad with him, but we had a van, and later on, well, for our later years, Mary and I are traveling around in a van. When we were doing these, we were doing tent camping. This is Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. There's the fishing buildings and everything here, and some boats in the foreground. Locally, I did calendars for other companies here, like Hog Fuel. We did their calendar a few years. There's the Pioneer Tower in the background here. Burley Falls near Peterborough. That was one of our shots. This is I think the best photograph I ever got in Burley Falls, where you can see right, we've got some nice tree action here. It was a lot nicer then. And as I said, these books here, this book cover is a fishing stage. Very proud of that photograph for Breakwater Books. There's my photograph, talking about the forebearers. This is the way things used to be done here. It's a fish barrel and an old kind of anchor like a grappling, and a barrel for carrying the fish. Here's an earlier family portrait. Here I am without a beard back in the day. Some of the commercial photography that we used to do. Used to photograph these little teddy bears and things for Jolly Jumper. Great big machines like this. I often say any company with Canada in the name, I work for them. This is Canada Clutch International. Some gear casings that I photographed. Little truck fire on the 401. Here I was on the deck of the Sapata Ugland in Hibernia, right around the time the Ocean Ranger sank. Times Square, Hawaii. These are all shot on a 4x5. Well, I got started out in photography at a very early age, maybe 13 years old. My favorite aunt brought me a camera. It was some kind of a bank promotion. She put $10 in a bank account for me, and I got this little camera, a little single shot flash camera, and I really liked that, so I started taking pictures with it. And I got kind of involved in it, and later on I decided I'd like to have a better camera, so I was delivering papers, and I saved up my money from delivering the record for a couple years, and I bought this little Super Baldina camera with a Schneider lens. I got some great shots with that. Later on I went to a single lens reflex, a Miranda camera that I got at the Highway Market, and after that I traded everything I had and about $400 for a M4 Leica. I didn't even have this lens, I only had like a 2.8 lens at the time, and I upgraded to this 35mm. This is the camera that I started out. I always wanted to go to Conestoga College and study photography. It was sort of my dream and my dad's dream as well, and well, I did it. I switched to digital photography quite some time ago, and I was using the Olympus E5 when I made this shot in Death Valley, and this photograph of a lighthouse at Rose Blanche, Newfoundland, with the galaxy, the Milky Way, in behind the lighthouse. I'm just delighted with Olympus. Now that I'm using the OM-1, I just feel like I've been set free, totally set free to do whatever I want. Handheld video, handheld shots with really long lenses, just works wonderfully for me. I'm delighted with this photograph, and the latest one I did with the OM-1 and the 7mm lens is even better than this. This is a photograph that we made from Vancouver Island, shooting across to the city. And we had Bella with us. And the funniest thing, this Italian guy came along and he looked at Bella and he said, "Bella!" And she was so impressed that somebody knew her name so far from home. We've had wonderful times traveling around in our van together.